Hello, I'm Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I want to welcome ARMY from around the world to Chicago for the BTS Run Tour. Here in Chicago, we know what it means to show up for the artists, teams, and communities we love. We also know that music has the power to bring people together across cultures, languages, and borders. Whether you're visiting for the first time or returning to our city, I hope you'll experience everything that makes Chicago special.
Chicago is preparing for something far greater than an ordinary concert. Beneath the towering skyline, along the shores of Lake Michigan, and amid the relentless rhythm of one of America's most iconic cities, thousands of fans from around the world are beginning to arrive with one shared destination in mind: BTS. Yet before the stadium lights come alive, before the crowd fills the venue, and before countless ARMY lightsticks transform the night into a sea of purple, an unexpected voice has already extended a warm welcome. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has delivered a personal message to ARMY arriving from across the globe, and somehow his words make this moment feel bigger than a concert. They feel like a city opening its doors and saying, "Welcome, you belong here." In his message, Brandon Johnson introduces himself as the Mayor of Chicago and welcomes ARMY from around the world who have traveled to the city to experience BTS's tour. Chicago, he explains, understands what it means to show up for the artists, teams, and communities that people love. Those words may sound simple, but for fans who have traveled great distances, they carry something deeper. Going to a BTS concert is rarely just about standing in front of a stage and watching an artist perform. It can mean long journeys, unfamiliar streets, new faces, and the excitement of meeting people who were once strangers connected only through a screen. And now, in the heart of Chicago, those travelers are being told that their presence matters. Then comes a message that seems to capture the very essence of BTS and ARMY music. Has the power to bring people together across cultures, languages, and borders. Think about the people arriving in Chicago. They may come from completely different countries, speak different languages, and live lives that have little in common. Yet the moment the music begins and thousands of voices rise together, those differences can feel distant. For a few unforgettable hours, everyone is sharing the same atmosphere, the same excitement, and the same emotional journey. What separates people outside the stadium can become almost invisible inside it, replaced by one powerful sense of connection. For ARMY visiting Chicago for the first time, the mayor's message also feels like an invitation to experience more than the concert itself. Brandon Johnson encourages visitors to discover what makes Chicago special, from world-class museums and diverse culinary experiences to the public art that can be found throughout the city. He also points toward the beauty of the lakefront and the Riverwalk, places that have become recognizable parts of Chicago's identity. In that sense, BTS may be the reason many fans are coming, but Chicago itself becomes another part of the journey. The concert is the destination everyone has been waiting for, yet the city surrounding it has its own stories waiting to be discovered. But perhaps the most meaningful part of the welcome is not about landmarks, restaurants, museums, or scenery. Brandon Johnson hopes that every visitor will leave with something much more personal. New friends, unforgettable memories, and a genuine experience of the warmth and hospitality of Chicago. Imagine fans who once knew each other only through social media finally standing face to face. Imagine someone arriving alone and unexpectedly finding companionship among thousands of people who share the same passion. Imagine all the small conversations, laughter, photographs, and memories taking shape before BTS even steps onto the stage. Sometimes, that is the hidden magic of a major concert. The people who arrive as strangers can leave feeling as though they have shared something like family. As the message continues, the atmosphere becomes even more personal. The mayor hopes everyone enjoys every second of their time in Chicago and every moment of the BTS concert. It is a simple wish, but perhaps that simplicity is exactly what makes it meaningful. Because behind every ticket is a story. Behind every journey is anticipation. And behind every person standing in that crowd is a reason they chose to be there. For ARMY, the night may become one of those memories that is measured not only by the songs performed, but by everything surrounding them. But the journey into the city, the people they met, and the feeling of being part of something shared by thousands. Then, just as the message is approaching its end, Brandon Johnson adds a playful touch that immediately connects his welcome to the world of BTS. Referring to one of the expressions fans know so well, she says he knows their time in Chicago will be dynamite. It is a short and light-hearted line, but it gives the official welcome an unexpectedly familiar feeling. For a moment, the distance between City Hall and the world of ARMY seems to disappear. A mayor speaking to international visitors has found a phrase deeply connected to BTS, turning a formal greeting into something warmer, more recognizable, and unmistakably tied to the celebration taking place in Chicago. And perhaps that is why this moment feels so special. Before the stadium erupts with cheers, before thousands of lightsticks illuminate the darkness, and before every song becomes a collective voice, Chicago has already sent its message. A major American city is welcoming ARMY not simply as concert-goers passing through for a single evening, but as visitors arriving from around the world. BTS may be the reason they gathered, but the experience waiting for them extends beyond the stage. It is about the streets they walk, the places they discover, the people they meet, and the memories that begin forming long before the first note is played. For those arriving from far away, Chicago may therefore become more than another stop on a tour. It can become the backdrop to a story they will remember long after they have returned home. Perhaps years from now, a familiar song will bring back the feeling of that journey, the excitement of entering the city, the anticipation outside the venue, the voices of fellow ARMY, and the knowledge that thousands of people from different corners of the world were experiencing the same moment together. The concert itself may last only a few hours, but the memories created around it can travel much farther. And when the night finally arrives, when the stadium begins to fill and the anticipation reaches its highest point, Mayor Johnson's message may take on an even deeper meaning. Enjoy every second. Take in every moment, because eventually the lights will go down, the music will end, and fans will begin their journeys home. Yet what remains will not simply be the memory of a concert. It will be the friendships, emotions, laughter, and stories that were created along the way. For some, Chicago may be remembered as the place where they finally met someone they had only known online. For others, it may be the city where a long-awaited BTS experience finally became real. Ultimately, the story unfolding in Chicago is about much more than a performance. It is about what happens when music creates a space where distance feels smaller and strangers discover something they share. It is about a city welcoming people from different cultures and backgrounds, and about fans transforming a concert trip into an experience filled with human connection. The skyline, the lakefront, the Riverwalk, the stadium, and the sea of purple will all become part of the scenery. But the heart of the story will always be the people. The ARMY who traveled, the city that welcomed them, and the music that brought them together. So when the final moment arrives and Chicago falls back into its familiar rhythm, the echoes of this gathering may continue in the memories of everyone who experienced it. BTS will eventually leave the stage, the lightsticks will fade, and visitors will return to their own countries. But for ARMY who came from across the world, Chicago may remain more than a location marked on a tour schedule. It may become a place associated with friendship, music, discovery, and a shared memory that could never have existed in quite the same way anywhere else. Chicago is ready, ARMY is here, and as Brandon Johnson put it, their time in the city is ready to be truly dynamite.